My name's Ian, and I want to talk to you about this microphone, the Sennheiser MKE 600. Fabulous microphone, works really incredibly well in all kinds of situations. It's not a cheapo, it's about a mid-price type of microphone, but I really like it a lot because it sounds clean, it's got good rejection. It just works well for me, and it works well either via phantom power, 48 volts, fantastic, and you gain, I think it's 1 dB extra or less, 1 dB less noise, and a little bit more dynamic range. And you can also run it from a 1.5 volt battery, which means you can plug it straight into your camera. Now I'm directly into my camera now, and no preamps are involved in this, and no preamps will be harmed in the making of this movie. And in actual fact, my camera preamp isn't brilliant, but it works well with this microphone, really incredibly well. And it saves an awful lot of syncing in post. The microphone has a good sound. It has a low noise floor. It's a great microphone to use, and it's one of my favourites. I really do like it a lot. So I'm going to go through some of the features that you find on this microphone and how it works with my camera, which is just a cheap Sony. It's a Sony, what's it called, CX625. So it's just a cheap camcorder, and this is how it sounds. When I'm running and gunning, I would normally use something like a Rode VideoMic Pro Plus, or the Deity that I've got, the Pro, the D3 Pro, which is very nice. And in fact, I would normally use those if I'm just running and gunning. But if I want just that little bit extra clarity in my speech, I use this one. It is really nice. This room for me is a nightmare for sound. I've got bare walls with a few pictures up. They're just painted, not even wallpaper. There's a big window over there, and it's just not good for sound. And it's very difficult to know whether to use a cardioid, a supercardioid, a hypercardioid to try and reject some of the reverb. It's just a difficult choice. And in my case, what I do is I just try to get the microphone as close as I possibly can to me. So very often I use this one because of its extra clarity in comparison to some of the other microphones that I have. It has incredible clarity. It doesn't feature a great deal on it. It's got a high pass filter to cut a bit of the bass, and an on-off switch. The biggest problem is the on-off switch, basically, because if you forget to turn it off, there's nothing you can do about it. It has no self switch off, so you have to remember to turn it off if you're using a battery. If you're using phantom power though, you plug it in, plug it out, whatever, and that's fine. But with battery, you've got to manually switch it on and off. The microphone doesn't come with a load of extras, it really doesn't. It comes with a bag, which is very nice, a zip-up bag. I've got it upstairs. A foamy, which isn't too incredible, but it's okay. It's about as good as the Rode, I think. And a shock mount. And that's about it. That's what you get. And I think it costs somewhere in the region of £250 to buy. So it's certainly not a cheapie, but for me, it's well worth the cost. This is the sound of it, just as it is normal. And I'm now going to put the high pass filter in. And this is the sound of the microphone with its high pass filter switched in. Now that will take a bit of the bottom end away and make my voice seem a little bit lighter perhaps, but that's really useful outdoors if you want to avoid rumble, traffic rumble, and even if you get it, wind noise. Now I say if you get it because this microphone isn't actually that prone to wind sounds, believe it or not. I'll just show you what I mean. Now, if you take a look at this, this is just a bare mic with no protection on the top at all. Now, I'm going to try something that I can't do very well when I'm nervous. So here we go. Ready? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. I've said that about 50 times this morning to get that right. It's really not bad, is it? It's not bad. So if I speak right close to it like this and I'll keep my voice down, you're still not going to get an awful lot of noise coming in there because it's not prone to picking up an awful lot of plosives. And the reason is, of course, the capsule is at the bottom of the interference tube, so it's not at the top. So if you're using, say, something like a pencil microphone, which is what I've been looking at recently, quite a few of them, they are all prone to picking up plosives and wind sound. This one is way less it's less liable to pick up sounds like that because the capsule itself is at the bottom of an interference tube, so you've got a bit of a better chance. So in fact, although I said that the foam is nothing special, with this microphone it's possibly it's going to be okay, although I still use a dead cat outdoors if I think it's going to start puffing and huffing out there. So that's what I do. I'm going to now put the microphone back to normal and do the same test again. Ready? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. There you are, I did it. Now that's the sound of the microphone, just flat with no high pass filter. And I'm trying to sort of show you that it's not really that prone to picking up plosives. It really isn't. So it's a great mic for that. Now, if you want to go mobile with this, then what you do is you would use something like this. Now, this doesn't come with the microphone itself. It's a Sennheiser Link, rather like the Rode one. And basically you just plug into the back of your microphone, plug into your camera, and off you go. So now what I'm going to do is try this outdoors on top of the camera to show you what it sounds like outside. Now for this shot, I'm using the microphone about 4 feet away from me now outside. I've got traffic over to my right over there and a little bit of traffic over to my left this way as well, because the road kind of runs around some houses out there. So this is the sound of the microphone from the front. There's a plane going over, so now I'll take the opportunity to switch in the high pass filter. Now I've switched in the high pass filter and hopefully the plane has lessened. Birds everywhere, they're very noisy, these birds, and this is the sound of the microphone at a distance of about 4 feet outdoors, which is it sounds good outdoors like this as well. So it can be used straight on top of the camera like a portable microphone. It's great. The only thing it doesn't have is there's no internal preamp. Although it has a battery, there's no preamp, and you can't boost the levels. So currently I've got my camera, instead of the usual #1 setting for my Rode microphone, I'm using it on about 5, so 4 or 5. So it's about halfway, just under half up. And that's the sound of the microphone outside. This is the truly daft test where I point the microphone down a long way away, and I keep talking as I'm getting closer, and you can hear how this thing compares to maybe other microphones at a very long distance. I wouldn't normally use a microphone that far away, but now I'm coming up towards the camera, I should be coming much more into shot, and I'm just going to creep down, and I'm now back to that 4 foot position. In fact, actually, if I get closer, it's possibly going to sound a little bit better too. Now, just to test the polar pattern, this is the microphone from the front. This is the microphone at 90 degrees to the side, same distance. This is the microphone at what I would regard as the null point just behind. And this is directly behind. Now I'm directly behind the microphone at the same distance. And if I carry on walking around, I'm now walking around the microphone, null point, and now I'm at the side, 90 degrees, coming round to the front, and now back into shot. So that's the sound of the camera outdoors at long distance. And by the way, I haven't got the high pass filter on because I was further away, so the bass levels might be a little bit low. So now I'm going to try that again with the high pass on. Okay, now this time I've got the high pass filter switched in because there is some traffic noise over to my right hand side, and if I have it switched in, hopefully it might take a little bit of the traffic rumble away and make my voice seem a little bit more clear. So this is the sound of the microphone. I'm now roughly about 5 feet away, coming up to 4, and now getting very close. That's the sound of it with the high pass filter switched in, traffic rumbles going on, and some bird song. Can't cut the bird song out, but maybe the traffic noise has just diminished slightly. Okay, now just for reference, what I sometimes do is I will record and talk, and very often when I'm talking behind the microphone like this, I would use a portable recorder, but I would then basically take a shot and also take a shot with a recorder in order to mix the sound in afterwards, which gives me greater control of how loud the background sounds are. So down the back there is what we call the North Downs, and if you know anything about the Canterbury Tales, that's where they all told those naughty stories. But I'm gonna show this twice, once as it is on the microphone, and then once with background sounds put in. So this is an example of what I would normally do, in that I would record what I wanted to say onto the camera from behind the microphone, and then record the ambience. So the ambience is now in stereo, and what I would do then is go home, write down or copy or try to imitate what I said behind the microphone, because shotgun microphones aren't so great from behind. And so if you want to say something very quickly on the spot, at least you've got a record, and then when you get home you can record it properly with the background sound still going. So the background is in stereo, my voice is in mono, and down the back there is where those pilgrims went and told all of those rude stories to each other and made that book. So this is a microphone that's in the mid-price bracket. It's about £240–250. It doesn't come with anything posh, but it's a good basic sounding mic. Great for putting on the camera, great for using in the studio with phantom power, whatever you want to do. It's very, very versatile, and I would say this mic is really worth the money. If I was going somewhere like the seaside and it's going to be a bit rainy or windy or something, maybe I would take something else like the DT or the Rode, but this one I keep for posh. It's a nice microphone and well worth it, and I don't regret buying this one at all. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing. Still need a few more viewers if possible. Be really, really nice. And I'm trying to make these reviews kind of informal, quite friendly, but having the microphone being used in normal situations like a front room and outdoors, to show you what the mics actually do without those treated rooms. So if you like my videos, please subscribe, and hopefully see you next time.